2020 presidential election coverage starts now. So this is a quick refresher on the silent vote scenario for the election in 2020. It's much quicker than the other videos, which are in the notes section below. Here you can see the JHK model. It uses current polling data, and it uses its understanding of that to put together a map which has sort of the deep red states being solid Republican states and the deep blue states being solid Democrat states. And as you can see, if you look at the polling today, the Democrats are at 319 electoral college votes against the Republicans 204. You need 270 to win. The Democrats, according to the polling data today, if it doesn't change between today and election day, are tipped to win the 2020 election. They have the West Coast, they have the Northeast, they have Florida, and they have the Rust Belt, or a lot of the Rust Belt anyway. They don't have Indiana and Ohio. If you view the polling data as absolutely accurate, no error, etc. Now what we're going to do in this video, in the videos in the notes section below, it goes into great detail, but we're just going to quickly sort of blow through every possible scenario for the silent vote between 5, 10, and 15. So this is the JHK model. This is the polling data as it is. Republicans are not at 270. Democrats are. Democrats are the victors. Here's the R+5% scenario. And as you can see, these light red states are the states that have flipped over. That's Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Florida, and Arizona. Those are the states that have tipped over. The Republicans are now sitting at 279 electoral college votes, which means that in an R+5 scenario where there's a 5% silent vote, the Republicans, with the polling data as it sits today, are tipped to win the 2020 presidential election. The Democrats are sitting very close at 259, but no cookie at an R+5% model. Here's R+10%. The Republicans are sitting at 325 electoral college votes against the Democrats' 213 electoral college votes. And you can see that Nevada's flipped over from the Democrat camp to the Republican camp. Arizona's flipped over. Minnesota's flipped over. Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, North Carolina, and Florida have all flipped over. This is the R+10% scenario, and the Republicans are well past their 270 votes that they need to win the presidency, and the Republicans, therefore, with the polling data as it sits today in an R+10% model, are heavily favored to win the 2020 presidency. And not only that, in an R+10 scenario, the entire Rust Belt, other than Illinois, is given over to the Republicans. Oh, sorry, and New York State and a few of these New England type states. But in terms of the Rust Belt that the Democrats right now are focused on trying to get back, that they lost in the 2016 election, the only bit they get back is Illinois, which they never lost. So that's the R+10% voting scenario, and this is R+15. The Republicans are sitting at a whopping 363 electoral college votes as the polls sit today, with a 15% silent voter for the Republicans, and the Democrats are sitting at 175. And what happens in an R+15 scenario is that Oregon becomes a Republican state, which is shocking. Nevada, Republican state. Arizona, Republican. New Mexico goes Republican. Colorado, Republican. Unsurprisingly, the entire Rust Belt other than Illinois, so Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Maine, New Hampshire, they're all Republican. VA and North Carolina, Republican, and Florida's Republican. And of course, Alaska, as usual, is Republican. Hawaii went Democrat. So that is the R+15% voting scenario. So I wanted to create a very short video for those people who just want to be able to breeze past it. What does the silent voter look like? Well, these are what the polls will show you right now. That is the best model of all of the polling averages. You factor that in properly. Here's who's winning and who's losing each state. And right now, polls as is, Democrats are going to win the 2020 election. If you think there's a 5% silent voter case, the Republicans will win the 2020 election with 279 electoral college votes. Remember, in 2016, I believe they won 360 electoral college votes, so they won't win as much as they won in 2016, but they will still win the presidency in an R+5% scenario with a 5% silent voter. Here's the 10% silent voter. The Republicans win 325 electoral college votes, much more than they won in 2016. If 10% of the vote is a silent vote, or let's say 5% of the Democrats who say they're going to vote Democrat drop out, well, that would be 5% boost for the Republicans, more or less. And if you have then a R+5% silent vote on top of that, you have the net effect of an R+10% silent vote. 5% Democrats just dropping out because they're not enthusiastic for Biden, and 5% Republicans just being silent. This would be what an R+10% scenario looks like. Republicans at 325, Democrats at 213 electoral college votes. And this is the R+15 scenario. Republicans at 363 electoral college votes, Democrats at 175 electoral college votes. So hopefully you found that interesting, you found it exciting, enjoyable, maybe you learned something new, and if you did, it would really help if you gave it a like, a follow, or a subscribe. So thanks for watching.